Shalom. Call halal, Yahweh Bashem Awashai, Bashem Rakar. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers, doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And the Israelite foreigners are the scattered Israelites that are among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. All right. The Israelites consist of the so-called natives to the Americas, the Hispanics, and the Negroes. As you can see on this, it says something about the Israelites. Blacks are not Indians. The land of Canaan is not Africa. Well, I don't know what's going on with that right there. But a couple of brothers have been going in on this topic, and Israel is above Africa. All right, they're not the same place. They're very close, right next to each other, right on top of each other. And both regions were full of dark people. All right, the land above Israel going into the land of Canaan, even though that wasn't a part of Africa, Africans occupied a dark people occupied that area. All right, and also all the way up into Asia Minor, that whole region, over in Jordan, that whole region was all dark. As a matter of fact, the whole world was dark, except for Esau, Edom. They were the only pale people that were running around. So all people were melanated, as so-called black people. So this isn't a color thing; it's a bloodline thing. And the Africans are a different dark race than the Negroes. Let me grab the Young's Bible Dictionary and the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. And this is a video that was done by Elder Yashawamba. And he focuses, which I highly suggest that you go and watch it and be edified. But he kind of focuses mainly on the point. Now my mind is going blank. But he focuses on a couple different points. The point I'm going to focus on is the Japhetic part. All right. But before I get to that, I'm just gonna, touch on this just for a second, because Japhet is not mentioned in end-day prophecy at all. All right. There's no prophecy in the Bible that says that Japhet would enslave Jacob and treat Jacob bad. And there's no prophecy, no scripture to substantiate that claim. And that's this man, I believe, and he never looks you square in the face. Even he never really looks at the camera. He always glancing and looking away. I've left comments on videos that he's done years ago. And just a couple years ago, he popped up out of nowhere, and personally, I believe this guy is a hireling for Esau. And that's why he was able to go on Amazon, have Jeff Bezos and have a Hollywood type production and make a movie documentary, because they're not going to allow us to do that, because we're going to give you the truth. This guy's giving you confusion, and Esau backs him. So what Esau is trying to do is they're literally trying to stifle the prophecy of the awakening. Because see, what you have to understand, part of that awakening happened. And from what I see, the Lord woke up the prophets first to go out on the highways and byways, because the scripture said, before I get these definitions, let me go to these scriptures. The scripture said you would see your teachers, all right, that they would actually be on the highways and byways in season and out of season. Could someone please show me a video going back to 2007 or earlier of this man on the highways and byways in season and out of season, in the cold, in the heat, in the rain, in the snow, teaching the gospel of the Lord, making his body a living sacrifice? He hasn't done that. But yet all of a sudden he's this big vocal, elder and high-ranking person in Israel all of a sudden. Right? When he has no works. Right? Faith without works is dead. But let's go to Luke. Let's go to the book of Luke. 14 and 23. And it reads, "And the Lord said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and the hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled." So we're literally supposed to go out and teach the gospel of the Lord on the highways and byways in the chief concourse. All right. It says wisdom out of his voice there, in the chief concourse means a great market, a great place of gathering, man. Okay. This is Isaiah 30 and 20, and it reads, and though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. So, we've been teaching Israel. We saw our teachers. We saw the elders and apostles when they went on, when they started putting up the videos on the YouTube in 2007. And speaking of that time frame, I'm calling out to all my constituents, all my fellow laborers that came in around that time, that first part of the awakening. All right, all the brothers who are camp heads and elder brothers in camps, that are veterans now in this thing. To all, make videos on this guy, man, expose this guy. All right, because I believe this guy's an agent. And when he was talking in this portion, I'm not even going to play him. But when he was talking right here, he sounded just like vocab. And I'm willing to bet that if you dig deep enough, I wouldn't be shocked if you find this guy have sat down and spent time with vocab. All right, because when he was speaking, the way he was trying to give rebuttal to the doctrine, he sounded just like vocab, man. Okay, but this is Acts 18 and 2 real quick. Then I'm going to go back to those definitions. The book of Acts 18 and 2. And it reads, I start at verse 1. And after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth. Okay, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, and his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all the Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. This scripture can be found in secular history, and you will find that Claudius made all the Jews leave Rome because of aggressive street teaching. They were having camps. They were waking up and they were preaching the coming of the kingdom of the Lord, and for their people to return unto their ways and to return unto the law, statutes, and commandments, and that the kingdom of heaven was at hand. And they were causing an uproar. Why? Because Claudius wanted the Hellenist, the Hellenista, the Greek-speaking Jews, the Jews who had conformed to the Greekish fashion and the Greekish way of life, to remain that way. Same thing that Esau is doing today, which is why he was allowed. Jeff Bezos faced no criticism at all. There was a joke that Dave Chappelle said Kanye got in so much trouble that Kyrie got in trouble. And all Kyrie did was post this video. He didn't say nothing. Yeah, he got slipped. But this was a big mistake, because now the flip side of it is that's what Esau does. He gives you truth, but then he gives you a bunch of lies. So yes, we are the Israelites. Yes, we were in Africa, but that's not our home, and that's not where we were from. And why anyone would teach it, go back there. All right. The Lord said, the prophecy says we're going back to Israel. This man is teaching go back to Africa. All right. The scripture says that Israel is the mother of us all, not Africa. All life started there. That was the heart of the Garden of Eden, was where Israel was, not Africa. And Africa is the land of Ham. All right, let me see if I can find it. I know that's in Galatians. It's either in Galatians 4 or... Yeah, Galatians 4 and 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So if you didn't woke up to the fact that you're an Israelite, Israel is the mother of us all, not Africa. This guy is a liar and a false prophet. And like I said, I do believe that he's a hireling for Esau, hired to be controlled opposition. All right? They wanted this out there. Okay. So what I believe what they were trying to do is that they see the awakening happening, and what Esau is trying to do is control it. Okay. But let's clarify something else too. We can go into this definition of ham real quick. All right. This is from the Young's Bible Dictionary. Okay. Page 255 at the bottom starts the definition of ham, and it reads, a son of and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on each of these four. While they may all have been dark-skinned, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races, but rather the people associated with Egypt, all right, and the continent of Africa and the Egyptians, though Canaan and thought of Canaan as one of their provinces even into the very latter time. So even though Canaan is not in Africa, it's above Africa, all right, they still looked at that land as their own, all right. And so it's just like when you look at the definition of Semitism or Semitic, they lie in that definition because they add the Ethiopians into that. And the Ethiopians are sons of Ham. And Ham, the land of Ham, was actually called that. There was a brother, I'm trying to remember who it was. One of the brothers just was having a conversation with four brothers from Africa. I know a couple of them were Nigerians. More than likely, they were actually Israelites. But he was having a conversation with these Nigerians or these men from Africa, four of them, and he asked them, hey, what was Africa called before it was called Africa? And they all said it was called the land of Ham. So let's read this other definition of Ham. This is from the Zondervan's Dictionary Bible. All right, let's bring it into focus. It says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right. So Canaanites, the land of Canaan, the Canaanites, even though they were not in Africa, the land of Canaan was full of Hamites. The Ethiopians are not Semitic; they're Hamitic. So those Phoenician Jews, they're false. They're Hamites. They're Africans. Okay. So let's get that out the way. Now let's get to this Japhet thing. All right. Let's look at some pictures of the ancient Minoans. All right. These are ancient Minoans right here, man, that you're looking at right there. Let's focus on them. Those are ancient Minoans. So we're going to go to the actual artifacts that are still there on the walls and the caves. All right. Those are your actual Greeks. Those are the people that Alexander of Macedonia, who actually an Edomite, took over. All right. Esau got pushed out of his land. All right. Esau pushed Japhet out of his land and took it over. Let's look at some more images of Japhetic people. All right. These are faded up. But here we go. Japhetic men. And you'll find in art that often Japhet always painted their women pale for whatever reason, but they weren't. But there you go. These are Japhetic men. Okay? You can't get around this stuff. I've got tons and tons of books of this stuff. All right? So they're liars, and what you have to understand, as a matter of fact, let me go back to that and let's read some scripture. Okay? All right, so let's go into the book of Maccabees. Okay? So we're going to go to the book of Maccabees, first Maccabees, and get a little biblical and secular history, because this history is also found in secular history. All right? And it's just so ironic, a coincidence, how Esau removes everything from the Bible to hide, to cover up and protect his lies. But this is First Maccabees 1:1, and it reads, and it happened after that Alexander the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius the king of the Persian Medes, that had reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So in his stead, in his race, in his stock. Let's look up that word stock. This is the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedic Edition with biblical references. Let's let that come into focus. 1933. Let's look up stock. See what the Winston has to say. Because he was the first in his stock, which literally means his race. Stock. Wow, here we go. All right, even got scriptures written there. But you can, let's let it come into focus. Peep the fifth definition. Race, family, or relationship, also origin or source. The founder of a family. Okay? So he was the first in his stock, all right, to reign over Greece. You know what? I'm curious as why I got that scripture written there. That First Maccabees 12 and 21. Let me just peek it. Oh, and I found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and the Jews are brethren, and that they are the stock of Abraham. The Lacedaemonians will be who you call the Spartans. All right. So that's another reason why they hid it, because they had separate. Hollywood has gave you a different thing about who the Jews were, who the Maccabees were, and then Hollywood has promoted that the Spartans are Japhetic or so-called white people. But the Bible lets you know that the Spartans, the Lacedaemonians, all right, were actually Jews. So that creates a controversy. With all the money they made off 300, you know, and we know who made the money off of it, but the Jewish people get no credit for that, you know. So it just goes to show you how much of a liar these people are, and all the confusion that they bring. Okay. Also, let's go to the book of Psalms. This is Psalms 83. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 6 and see if there's any mention of Japhet here. All right. Because like I said, there's no prophecy that Japhet would, and the Bible tells you clearly that Edom would be ruling when the Lord comes back. Psalm 63. So he didn't say he's coming back to a world ruled by Japhet. He said he's coming back to a world ruled by Edom. So there's a disconnect here. All right. But this is Psalms 83 and 1. And it says, keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So, and these are all going to be mostly Shemitic races and Hamitic races. All right. And it says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have made crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The Israelites are the Lord's people, and they're the hidden ones. Because, why? They got separated from their heritage, just as prophecy said they would. They wouldn't know who they were. So they've been hidden. The Bible also tells you that another people would be masquerading, that they are the people of the Lord, and that they would be exposed. See, that's the time that we're in. But let us continue. They have said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles, meaning the stock of, the race, the family of Edom. So the houses of Edom, all so-called white people that are actually white, that don't have forefathers that are of another nation. That same goes for the rest of the names that I'm about to mention. The Edomites are Shemitic, all right? The Ishmaelites, also Shemitic, sons of Abraham. So are the Edomites, all right? Of Moab, all right? Moab are the so-called Chinese. Those are the sons of Lot, also Shemitic. Of the Hagarenes, those are more Ishmaelites, sons of Hagar, all right? And Gabal, more Ishmaelites, all right? All these people are Shemitic that we so far. And Ammon, the Japanese, also sons of Lot, that became a nation. Also Shemitic. And Amalek, the first of the nations that the Lord would have war with from generation to generation. Which is why Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, or Yehoshua, or Yeshua, or all these other names that they call him, which are wrong, he's coming back to a world ruled by Esau, headed by Amalek. Amalek, he has war with them from generation to generation. All right, and it says the Philistines, all right, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Actual Philistines, those go back to Palestine. And Palestine was full of what? Canaanites. And so was Tyre. And Tyre is also Hamitic. And I'm not 100% sure if Tyre was in the land of Canaan or if they were down in Africa, but nevertheless, they're still Hamitic. Those are Hamites. So the enemies of the Lord were Ham and Shemitic races, Semitic races. All right? There's different stocks of Shem, but there's only one chosen, the Israelites. Okay? Now let's look up some definitions. All right? And the first one is, because I have an article here. This is probably going to end up being a two-part video. I have an article that I'm going to read before I read those definitions. And this is it was written by, what's my man's name? Benjamin Franklin. Okay? So, this was a book that he wrote in the 1700s. All right? And I'm going to go to the last two paragraphs, because this is a long read. It's not a long read, but there's no way I'd have time to read it, because I think I get about 26 minutes before the camera just cuts off, and so that means I have 3 minutes left. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cut it here, and then I'm just going to start it again. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, and see you in part 2. Shalom.